Bill Neeley, welcome to Worldfocus.
Thank you.
So let me start by asking you, you and your team, how did you go about covering the earthquake in the first few days and also in the days that followed? What did you see on the ground? What kind of stories did you get to hear? And also tell us a little bit about the obstacles that you encountered while you were framing and reporting your story.
Well, I went in on a tourist visa and picked up a local crew. Our China bureau were there, obviously, and we all headed for Sichuan, the city at the centre of the earthquake. And like all major natural disasters, it was a terrible scene. I particularly remember Sichuan High School, where 1,300 students and teachers died. And the rescuers were digging out the children from the rubble. And every now and again, there was just a grotesque tableau of a new classroom with the children frozen in place, dead, sometimes classrooms of 15 to 20 children. And those are very difficult sights. As a reporter, it's quite difficult. And some of the scenes, of course, you cannot show on television, so you have to have a talented cameraman who can suggest the gravity of this tragedy without actually showing gruesome scenes. But it was very difficult.
And what would you say that viewers learned about China because of the earthquake?
I covered an earthquake in the Soviet Union in Armenia in 1988-89, and the Soviets said that 25,000 people had died. Now, 25,000 people died in one tiny place. It was a gross underestimate. What I discovered about China was actually the authorities were quite upfront about how many people had died. What they weren't upfront about was that so many children died in schools, and the reason was that the schools were badly constructed. There were buildings standing all around. The schools had simply were reduced to dust.
The rubble, right.
And that was because of corruption, and that was something that they would not admit.
Right. And is that something that has changed as a result of the earthquake in China?
Not really. I mean, the Chinese have gone to great lengths to silence the parents, and they have admitted that there was some shoddy construction. But the grip of the state was really quite clear there, that they were embarrassed internationally by the fact that the schools had collapsed and so many children had died.
And I just want to switch gears a little bit. I mean, you're the international editor of ITV News. How do you see foreign news coverage as it stands now? Do you think that we're doing a good job? Are there things that concern you? We hear a lot about, bureaus shutting down across all over the world.
There are more reporters and there are more networks, but somehow it seems that there is less foreign coverage, and I think that's a really, really bad thing. It's more difficult for reporters to go and cover some of these conflicts because we are targeted. Al-Qaeda would love to get their hands on a British or a French or an American reporter. So it's more difficult for us, but the responsibility upon us to cover foreign news is all the greater because it's a very dangerous world. It's a world that we don't understand quite as well as we did when there was the Cold War. We have a real responsibility to go out and report these things. So there is more news, more information, but sometimes it's not coming from the most dangerous places.
Bill Neeley, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you very much indeed.